I'm about to make my MMA debut, the most dangerous and complete martial art there is. To reach a good level, this year I set out to win a medal in every grappling discipline. In just 1 month and suffering through every match, we managed to get medals in Sambo, Combat Sambo, and grappling. Today, it's time for the purest form of hand-to-hand combat, Olympic wrestling. Man, I hate this time of year. Damn allergies. Same thing at the grappling competition. At last year's event, it was the same story. Honestly, it's embarrassing to always be sick, man. I've got the immune system of a squirrel. But you know what else I've got? A pair of cojones. Man, I'd be so comfortable in bed watching Demon Slayer and eating ham-flavored Ruffles. But nope, here I am again, showing up out of devotion to you all, to Kando's vlog at the temple. And yeah, this year I've spent more time competing in this arena than actually training for these disciplines. I'm gonna fight and see how long my body can hold out, going up against the elite in this sport. So once again, I rushed over to the weigh-in since I was running late because I was more focused on the video than on the competition itself. If I pay attention. Like in any combat sport, the categories are divided by weight. I should be in the under 86 kilos category, but I'm gonna compete in a higher category since there were more people signed up. I got on the unforgiving scale and it read 89.00. 5 kilos under. They're filming me. Damn, I'm fully dressed. Just another day at the office. I think the last 7 competitions were here, but this is the last one of the year. I'm gonna miss you, darling. And along with beach wrestling, which is tomorrow, we'll be wrapping up all the regional competitions of the Madrid Wrestling Federation. So we won't be coming back to this awesome arena since only judo and jiu-jitsu are left. You know anything about dance? Last year, this was the warm-up area. How did I find that out? Nah. Well, guess I'm not warming up then. Once again, huh? Just to feel like I'm in my comfort zone. There was still an hour to go, but they already started blasting a party through the speakers. Damn, they're trying to mess up my vlog, huh? They put me right here. Dimitri Vegas and Mike Mike. Hey, last year I didn't do too bad. The only thing is I was just relying on pure judo, which is what you end up doing anyway. I went to a couple of training sessions and, I pulled off some takedowns. Heck, even in Dagestan, I sent the Mongolian champion flying. But this time, my goal is to force real wrestling positions and techniques. I might not be as efficient, maybe I'll mess up here and there, but that's exactly what I want. Today, I'm here to gain experience. This is gonna be a test run, wrestling against the best from a specific part of the game that I'm interested in. Because in the end, what matters to me is my MMA debut, which is what I'm training for. I have to leave my ego at the door and really get something out of this competition. If I don't dare to try new things today, things won't work out for me in the future. So I'm sorry, Yugo Ricano. Today, I'm letting you down, coach, but that won't stop me from busting my head in every match. All right, we finished the intro. Now we can go back to the factory. Put on some techno-thumping music over there. Someone should drug test all of them. Good luck today, huh? I don't need luck, bro. Do you know what I need?
What do you need?
Pair of balls, bro.
That's what you're missing.
What I'm missing? That's what I'm missing? A pair of balls is what I'm missing?
I feel.
See there?
You look strong, huh?
I do now.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh? I've had enough of this crap. People were starting to arrive, so it was time to get changed and get in the zone. Whoa, no, Fabry, the doorman, let me say. How are you, sir? How you doing?
You say you're gonna fight, right?
No, I'm just here to have a few caipirinhas, man.
Is that for the last medal? To put it there and bring?
The last one? Well, I think I'm still missing about 7, but yeah, good luck, brother. Let's go, time to one up. For the trophy case, man, just like that. This is one of the main sports in the Federation, so along with Sambo, it's where there are the most participants. Man, guys, I show up here without a club, without a coach, without any training partners. It's just me and my 2 little buddies. So to blend in, I put on the uniform. This consists of a super tight singlet and special wrestling boots for the mat. Unlike in judo, the stance is much lower to keep people from grabbing your legs. Memories of Augustine, huh? I feel like I'm naked, slippery. I haven't washed it since Russia. Anyone who smells like armpits is a chemical killer. Caffeine to get me really fired up. And we have 20 minutes to warm up. This is one of the most athletic sports there is. It's practically the rhythmic gymnastics of martial arts, where every joint and every muscle has a specific function. While everyone was experiencing things with their club mates, I was alone. This is hard to manage, since obviously I don't have 8 clubs for the 8 medals I want to win. And it's a huge disadvantage, not just on a motivational level, being a lone wolf with no one to turn to or talk to, but also not being able to try out techniques beforehand, which is what I'm gonna face in the match. So, bold as I am, I asked Stepana if I could do a few rounds with him, mostly just to feel something, but I didn't want to take him away from his partner either. And after just a few minutes, they sent us all out since the competition was about to start. At least I got to feel a human body, obviously as an unbreakable ritual before every competition. Right now, I was looking for you. Look, with this hand, I was cleaning you up, but...
I have one.
Yeah, but I charge 75 euros. You guys don't have 75 euros? No, I don't think so. Well, then you have to win a medal.
Okay, but they put me with 940 and I have 36.
Well, go with her and fight. Let me explain the rules, since they're a bit complicated. If you throw your opponent sideways, you get 2 points. But if it's on their back, that's 4 points. If you manage to drag them out of the tatami, that's 1 point. If it goes to the ground, taking their back is worth 2 points. And every time you manage to flip them over, that's an additional 2 points. Now, if you hold them down for 3 seconds with their shoulders on the tatami, you win. Automatically. This is what I mean when I say I don't know the rules. Okay, yeah, throw your opponent and don't let them throw you. Oh, how easy. But I have to be careful with spontaneous moves. In Combat Sambo, I made the mistake of going face down, leaving myself open to a rear naked choke. Here, it's the complete opposite. I have to force that position so they can't turn me over. That wouldn't make any sense in a real fight, but those are the rules.
Try to remember, Kari.
All I can promise you is that I'm gonna bust my ass in there.
That makes me feel so much better. But
Competition had started, and you could see an insane level of skill. Spontaneous moves, super low center of gravity. This is the most important championship at the regional level. In a few minutes, it would be my turn, so every person I saw, I went up and gave him a hug. Yeah.
of course, she's here thanks to you.
Really?
Because she saw you in the videos and told me, look, Mom, there's wrestling in Spain.
She here?
Now she competes here.
That's exactly what we're looking for. How exciting. They had called me over the loudspeaker. I was more distracted than I would have liked. Everything can be decided in a single move, and that can be either an advantage or a disadvantage.
They matched us up against Russians. This is it, my friend Paco.
When did this channel stop being about judo and start wrestling? What am I even getting into? I could be making Minecraft gameplay videos.
Wrestling, he says, like he really wrestled. He's done it all.
Anyone who's ever stepped onto a competition tatami knows this isn't just about brute strength. I'd have to hold a position and last 6 minutes in a discipline I've barely trained in. But that wasn't gonna make me lose focus. I was gonna fight until the very last second. I greeted them, stepped onto the tatami dazed but determined. They did a metal check on me, I guess to make sure I wasn't carrying any implants. A quick fist bump with my buddy, and the match began. For the first time in this sport, I tried to keep a low stance so I wouldn't leave my legs exposed, but without realizing it, I kept straightening up to go for takedowns. We started grappling for grips, always keeping our distance, until I managed to get my hand on his back. I switched to wrap up his arm. But he caught me in a guillotine, which threw me off balance and almost pushed me out of the circle. That forced me to push him back, and before I could get into a better position, he grabbed my leg. I dropped to the ground to avoid being thrown. I was having a hard time adjusting to the grips since I was leaning back way too much. So I tried to shoot in to destabilize him, but he almost took my back. However, I managed to face him again, and we ended up back in the same position. My top hand instinctively went to grab a GI, which obviously wasn't there. I couldn't afford to make a mistake, so I pushed his head down as I moved to the side. The guy kept coming at me from the front, and honestly, he knew exactly what he was doing. At this rate, I was going to get called for passivity since my attacks had no power, so I had to take a risk. However, I didn't have enough moves in my arsenal to shoot in with my center of gravity that low. So I tried a Haragoshi from judo and managed to throw him off balance. As I tried to grab his back, he pushed me, so he beat me. 1 point. My opponent had barely made a move on me, but I realized his strategy was to wait for me to make mistakes. He was shorter than me, so for my judo grip, it was going to be really hard to throw him. So I had to go up to drop to my knees, but he stabilized himself right away, so I switched to grabbing his hip to try to go for a suplex. He leaned too far forward and I couldn't lift him, but I managed to take his back, so I turned the match around with 2 points. It wasn't enough, I had to turn him over, so with all my strength I spun him, but they stopped the match because apparently I'd done something illegal. Apparently, you can't put your hand around the neck to flip someone over. It gave me a warning, and of course I apologized to him. And this was going to be a huge disadvantage, since 90% of my judo repertoire is precisely grabbing the neck. We were halfway through the round and I noticed his strength had faded, so once again I was going to risk it with a surprise attack. I faked dropping to my knees, pretending to go for a judo ippon soyanage, but then I turned to grab his leg and get to his back again. This time I let go of his neck. I was still at risk of being disqualified, but from this position and with him barely able to walk, I couldn't really do anything. I was completely spent, and I was out of surprise techniques. But that wasn't going to stop me from giving it everything I had in the more than 60 seconds left. Holding a fixed position wasn't working for me since he had way more experience. So once again, I pretended to stand up to lunge at him, but I stopped halfway. So he went straight for my back, but I got up as fast as I could. And then in a wild scramble, we both went flying, but the throw wasn't clear, so they told us to go back to the center. When I managed to get my grip up top, he would put his weight on my arm with his hand and wear me down to the point where I had to let go. What again? Then I got up top, turned sideways ready to make a move, but he beat me to it by grabbing one of my legs, lifted me up, and switched to a fireman's carry where he almost took me down. Without hesitation, I took the opportunity to get behind him and score 2 more points, but he kept getting back up. I didn't know if, once we hit the ground, he could score a takedown, so I didn't risk it and landed face down, which led him to jump onto my back and recover a point. I was completely out of breath. My chest hurt, and just the uncertainty of not knowing where he might come at me from made me twice as exhausted, both physically and mentally. Once again, I got a penalty for grabbing the neck. This time, I honestly didn't even realize when it happened. All I knew was that one more unconscious mistake and I'd lose the match, so I had to be extremely careful. There were only 30 seconds left, I was ahead by 4 points, but I was completely spent. And knowing that at any second he could come at me or that I could make a mistake was drilling into my head. I had no choice but to tense up for dear life. And then he landed a smack that made my whole head ring. They told him not to do it again, but honestly, I didn't hold it against him since I almost strangled him. There was still a whole second half left, so in these last few seconds, it didn't make sense for us to take any risks, so we just held on. The first round was over, and I was practically about to faint, only my willpower was keeping me on my feet. While my opponent was talking to his coach, I didn't have anyone.
Come on, you got this.
No teammates, no coach. I had no choice but to cheer myself on. I'm performing at the damn level, let's go get it. Even though it was hard for me to even breathe, in there, the best actor wins. If I didn't have anyone to tell me anything, I'd tell myself. I train 3 minutes every day, just 3 minutes. No.
You just can't take it anymore.
In just 30 seconds, I was back on the mat and the referee told me I couldn't fight if I didn't have a coach to wipe the sweat off my back. A towel, someone with a towel, a t-shirt, anything. I didn't want to ask anyone for a favor, but it was either that or not compete. And this is the reality of showing up alone to events where I don't have a team. With or without a team, in there, it's just me and my balls. There were 3 minutes left where I was going to give it my all. Whenever I got on top, he would twist my arm with his hand, and the tension was so much, I even got cramps. I was forced to let go to give my arm a break, and he swept me, leaving me totally off balance. As soon as I got close to him, he switched sides to get to my back, and honestly, it was a gamble where he could catch me from. He tried again, this time hooking me with his leg, so I turned my back to him. He charged at me to get behind me, which earned him 2 points. I realized that during that break, he had changed his strategy, so I was gonna have to go all out. 100%, so he wouldn't come back on me. As the match went on, it got harder and harder for me to keep the low wrestling stance, and the fatigue forced me to stand up straighter, which is what I'm used to doing. So I forced myself to grab his leg, at least to throw him off, but it didn't go anywhere, and he kept struggling. I couldn't even lift my arm to keep it up, so I had to switch to a left-handed stance. That worked in his favor for the same move as before, but I managed to end up on top. Again, I wasn't sure how much he could throw me from here, so instead of going for his back, I tried to stand up. But he kept holding my leg, and I turned over to land face down. My buddy complained, I don't know about what, so I'm apologizing here while editing the video. All I know is he was about to turn the tables on me. If I wanted a different outcome, I couldn't keep doing the same thing, since it was clear that in that position, he was going to end up reversing me. So I went for a double leg, but he threw his legs back to block it, switched to my back, and turned the match around. Not only that, but here he was about to flip me over, and I knew that if that happened, it would be impossible to come back. So relying purely on judo, I kept myself stable and they stopped the match. 6-7. I couldn't let this comeback get me down, so I decided to go all in with what you're supposed to do. 4 points, and I ended up in a pin. My instincts told me to go for an arm lock, but of course I stopped. And because of the lack of a GI and all the sweat, he slipped out and turned face down. I took his back, but apparently, once you score 4 points, it doesn't count anymore. So I couldn't win by pin. There were 60 seconds left. I could barely stand, but I knew I was going to win this fight. I didn't plan to run away or give him a fight that wasn't worthy. Even though I couldn't lift my arm, I got it back over his head and struggled. Purely through willpower. I wasn't going to wait for the time to run out, I was going to throw him one more time. His strength and the number of his attacks had dropped. I was going to stay in a low wrestling stance until the very last second so he couldn't get to my legs. Then, in desperation, he charged at me and pushed me out of the circle, so he scored a point. 8-10. There were 10 seconds left, but if he managed to throw me face down, he could come back. He tried to sweep to grab my leg, but I stretched to the opposite side to block him. Time had run out, but his move had already started, so if he managed to throw me, he could still score. But I stayed on my feet and held on. I stayed standing and resisted. God.
What tension?
I had just won my very first match at the Regional High School Wrestling Championship. Yeah, maybe I came without a club, but the support from everyone there filled me with happiness. Damn, man, I'm going crazy. How did I even get myself into this? Come on, guys, let's go. I couldn't even think clearly. I only know that I was proud, not even of having won, but of having risen to the occasion at this level, and even when I couldn't do anymore, having fought until the very last second.
A warrior?
Right now, I don't know what I am. I've been there, bro. Fuck. What a fucking fire. Neither of us could do any more. I've hit the mark, man. In the end, we couldn't take it anymore. I knew that if he took me down one more time, he'd have me. Thinking about the rules. Studying paid off, teacher. Let's go.
You're my favorite anime character. You're the strongest. The one who can't go on but still pulls out hidden powers. I saw you show up in the game, you know?
Oh my god, what am I even talking about? Now, that was the end of my cardio for today. And yeah, it had been an incredible fight, but the competition was still going. I'd made it to the semifinals. My head was pounding, my hands were shaking. I felt like throwing up, but nobody could take away that feeling of pride. Little by little, the competition kept moving forward and the level kept rising, since those who had lost were eliminated and only fighters who had already won previous matches were facing each other. Meanwhile, the guys, loyal subscribers to the channel, were giving me pro tips about what I shouldn't be doing. It all boiled down to the fact that I was standing up too straight, even though I was really trying not to. But hey, in the end, when you're exhausted, it's normal to fall back on what you know. And for intra-workout, a good...
Stopper?
Of course. Do you guys think I'll fail the doping test? I think I will, but the other way around. Instead of being overstimulated, they'll see the results and say the kid's not up to it. All right, let's go for the semifinal. With paracetamol running through my veins and without having recovered from the previous battle, I headed to what would be the semi-final of the Madrid Championship. Quick nose blow because I didn't want to get snot all over Rioel's face, and I started warming up again, even though my muscles were already burning. Seriously, the previous fight lasted less time than I would have liked. But instead of seeing it as a disadvantage, I decided to take it as a good thing to go in warmed up. I greeted, stepped onto the mat, went through the metal detector again. Good thing I left my Iron Man suit at home. I bumped fists with my opponent, and this time they weren't gonna let anything slide. The referee explained to me that if I so much as put a hand on the neck, I'd be disqualified. We clashed, and the semifinal began. Unlike the previous opponent, this one wasn't so cautious and lunged at me, so I switched things up and went for his legs. He ground me to force me into a somersault. Last year, I lost for exactly that reason, thinking that since I was the one making the move, I'd score. But if you get flipped, the point goes to your opponent. I thought about this in a split second, so I stopped halfway through the move, at least to get to his back. He slipped his arm inside my leg, and my hand almost went to the back. It wasn't even half a second before I pulled it away and ended up facing him, unable to grab him from behind. So he started running forward, and thinking it was over, I let up, and he managed to drag me. I was in danger of being pinned on my back, which would mean an automatic loss. So before risking it, I turned onto my stomach. And this crazy sequence was just the first move of the match. Apparently my opponent had a sprained hand, I'm not sure, so he went to the doctor to get it checked out. That's when I started to get worried, because I don't want to win like that. I was really hoping that, thank you, he'd be able to continue, come back to the center and fight. We're here to fight, otherwise the medal means nothing. And thankfully, he was able to keep going, so no problem. He started walking toward me, which felt a little strange to me since in judo we use more pulling force than pushing, but I didn't want to risk going for a judo entry in case he countered me. I destabilized him by spreading his legs so I could grab his knees and switch to his leg. But unlike the previous match, he managed to position himself and I didn't throw him. I held onto his thigh with all my strength so he couldn't get to my back. So he tried to flip me over backwards. I managed to hold on and he didn't waste a second before trying again. That forced me to pull my arm out to turn, and that's when he managed to get to my back. He wasn't trying to finish. He tried to turn me over again, but I lifted my head and stayed steady like a rock. Every move against this opponent was hell. I realized I'd have to anticipate him instead of just trying to adapt to his game. We started grappling again, and his stance was even lower than before. I tried a distant uchigari, but without a gi, it's really hard to lock it in. He pushed me to get me out of the circle, and that's when I saw my chance, so I swung my leg and threw him. Unfortunately, to make that move, I stepped slightly outside the circle, so I didn't score any points. In fact, he was the one who got a point. I couldn't believe it. I had used up all my stamina on that surprise attack. I thought that starting the move inside the circle would be enough, but it's mistakes like these that really cost you. My opponent was ahead and had no intention of attacking anymore. Naturally, whenever I managed to get a grip that worked for me, he would break away. We were both so sweaty that I couldn't even grab his wrists because he kept slipping away. I kept trying to destabilize him with my grips, but he would lock his arms like a bar and keep me at a distance. With him sticking his butt out so far, there was only one wrestling move that would work, but I didn't want to risk it and lose even more points. That's what led to us being called for passivity. Suddenly, he started using a lot more strength than before, so I knew I had to switch things up. When I got close to the circle, he started pushing me, so I went for a double leg takedown. I brought his knees together to throw him off balance, which earned me 2 points. I also managed to get to his back, but I didn't score any more points since it came from a takedown. I had no choice but to try to turn him over. Now, yes, 2 more points. I had come back in the match. I tried to do it again, but my opponent was really solid, and you could tell he had put in a lot of work on the ground. So they stood us back up, and there were only 20 seconds left in the first half. Even though it would have been smart not to take any risks here and wait until halftime to think things over, without hesitation, he rushed at me to catch me off guard. But I managed to sprawl, get to his back, and score 2 points ahead. Here I tried to turn him over again, but unlike before, he opened up and I couldn't do it. To the point where I was at a disadvantage. From a pin, rather than risk losing, I went face down and he got a point. The first half was over, and instead of focusing on thinking about my strategy for the second half, I started quickly asking around to see who could dry my back so I wouldn't get disqualified. A huge thank you to this girl for doing me the favor. If not, I would have been disqualified for being sweaty. I was trying to look focused, to think of a strategy, but the truth is, I can't really dig into something I don't know how to control. I was already given 100% of my potential. All I could do was keep it up for the rest of the match. We both went back to the mat and the massacre continued. This time he tried to push my head down with both hands, which actually made my neck crack. He kept pushing like a madman, and before he could push me out, I took a chance and went for a takedown. But just as I expected, without a grip, I wasn't going anywhere. Thanks. I didn't want to end up face down, but the truth is, if I didn't, he was gonna pin me. So I crawled out of the circle to start over again. His game plan was crystal clear. He'd push my head down, waiting for me to resist that force so he could go for a takedown. Even though I knew my opponent's strategy, I didn't have the skill or strength to stop it. And just like I predicted, he dropped down and went for my legs. But I managed to dodge him and end up on top, even though he was still holding onto my leg, continuing the takedown. I twisted however I could and it didn't count. Still, just for stepping out of the circle, they gave him a point. But hey, I'd rather that than risk getting trum. Don't ask me why, but they made us start from a position that put me at a disadvantage. Now that I'm watching the video, I think it was because I stepped out of the circle more than twice. I don't know. And as you can imagine from here, all I could do was try to survive. He was crushing my neck with all his strength. I knew I'd be stuck in bed for 2 days afterward, but honestly, with all the adrenaline, I wasn't about to give up. Even so, he got my back, so he scored another point. I had managed to tie the score. As soon as the referee blew the whistle, he went straight for my legs. I managed to block him and fought to get to his back. He used my momentum to lift me up, so I slipped toward his head. I knew that if he got my back, there was no way I could come back. So, taking advantage of the fact that he moved forward, I flipped him with my legs, landed on top, and moved into a mount. 3 seconds, pin! I'd won the semifinal. I couldn't believe it. From pure grappling, I won a wrestling match. That's right, fighting to be the most well-rounded. Let's go, what a fight. That's the thing about martial arts. Everything can change in a second. Let's go to the finals. No coach, no team, nobody backing you up. Just pure willpower and giving it everything you've got. Every last breath and every second. You can aim not just to win, but to feel like a beast. Proud of yourself.
Tell me, who comes here without ever practicing this with nothing but guts and just goes for it? And that's it.
I didn't do judo or wrestling, I did grappling, just barely scraping by. And boom, I headed to the warm-up area, more to catch my breath than anything else, since we were already at the finals.
You could hear a little kid yelling all sorts of things at you, like, you give it your all.
Now, I was only hearing my own demons.
It is located right inside.
Dude, because Flex won't say it, but he's literally spent the whole week in bed. He just got up.
I don't say it because otherwise, oh Flex, you're crying. No!
Well, I'll say it. Seriously, I've spent a whole week without getting out of fucking bed, and the first thing I do is get up to come here.
I didn't even go out to walk the dogs, you know? She would go down, man. Rick Chorbo. Damn.
You should have seen me behind the camera, damn.
Shaken.
This shot gave me a highlight, bro.
Bro, this is all for the Instagram reel, man. I mean, for me, competing, honestly, my sister, the owner of a broken tooth last year in my line. The boss was right. Guys, there was still an hour left, so I was super chill. Outdoors, breathing, eating an apple. Total competition madness. Judokers and judokars, we're at the finals of the Madrid Wrestling Championship. I'm so glad I came, that I broke through this mental barrier we all have, and that I didn't just stay home. Because if you don't fight, you don't get a chance to win. Everyone here is scared, we're all nervous. You're about to go up against some really tough people who want to take your medal from you. But in the end, this is a numbers game. Fight, fight. The more I compete, the better I'll get, no matter the results. Actually, I can say for sure, I'm gonna go all out in my meme debut. But anyway, it sounds like I'm wrapping up the video. Let's go for the final. That's right, damn it. One more final in this arena. Obviously, I know I'm at a disadvantage, but my goal is to take the gold home. Here, you can win or lose. What I was sure of is that all the practice I was putting in for my debut was gonna help me a lot. My opponent was an absolute beast. Thank you. But me too, damn it.
My boyfriend is so cool, he's really awesome. And it's not just because he's my boyfriend.
Unaware of my friend's level, this guy was totally ripped, but that wasn't gonna throw me off or stop me from getting what I wanted. I'm really going for the gold here.
I trust you.
What was about to be my last fight was about to begin, on this mat. I walked in really happy, motivated, and excited, because competing in a final in any damn sport is something that just a few months ago, I couldn't even dream of. Thank you. I couldn't have even dreamed of it. I greeted my buddy and the fight began. I knew he came from a club that specialized in MMA, so I figured he'd be used to defending against leg attacks. Unlike before, I was going to try to stand a bit more upright to see if I could catch him off guard with a judo technique. The force with which he brought me down was terrifying. Even though neither of us had the advantage since we were both breaking grips, I didn't feel any real danger because we were both being very cautious. But I couldn't get in because as soon as I got close, he would move away from me. When I finally got my grip, he lunged for my ankle, managing to throw me face down, so he scored 2 points. I tried to turn over, but I stayed steady. As soon as he lifted me up, I fell over him, but with the momentum, he lunged at me. Just like before, I tried to flip him over to pin him, but it wasn't even 3 seconds before. I lost. Sometimes you have to take a chance and things work out, but that same risk you take can turn against you. I greeted his coach. I didn't have anyone to greet, so I'm greeting you guys. Oh man, dang it. I got overconfident. Not this time, dude. I tried to pull the same grappling move as before, but he was way stronger and more stable this time. It obviously didn't go any better. I think if I hadn't wanted to finish the match so quickly and played around a bit more, with the throws and all, since I was doing well, it would have gone better for me, but I did what I did. Major screw up. What's clear to me is that this guy was an absolute beast, and the experience I got today will help me for my debut.
To me, you're a champion.
Not today.
Yes, because you're a champion just for coming here, for showing up, for being here with your guts. The guy was really strong, and he was in his corner with his two coaches doing this to him. You were on your side with what? With your guts. And that's what you had. And you were there and gave it your all. There's only one damn chance. What do you want? I mean, anyone can come.
Here we show the reality of martial arts, not just when we win. This is the other side of the coin, so thanks for experiencing it with me. I went to that.
Grappling. Because you don't have a fighting round, man. That's what you're missing. You need to go next time, right?
Next time, train, right?
1 or 2 days before.
A few years, Dagus, and it's over.
Thanks. So intense, man. Bro, I just went up against Cristiano Ronaldo, right? No.
No, I wish. Not even close. Congrats.
You're brave.
You're brave too.
Me too, right?
Fight like Barrera.
The gods. That's it. If these two quit, I'll quit Cristiano too. A huge thank you to everyone who supports me and is there every day, backing me up and living the reality of martial arts with me. These days, we've romanticized never losing, being undefeated, but not showing up to competitions where you might lose isn't what Bushido encourages. Even Topuria lost in his first grappling matches, or Khabib in Sambo. This is what real growth is about: losing. Over and over again, not choosing your opponent, fighting whoever you get, no matter who it is, making yourself stronger and getting closer to the version of yourself you want to be. Besides, I'm trying to take the champion spot from someone who trains day and night in this discipline. Today, I'm taking home another silver for my medal collection, but above all, some incredible fights without incredible. Another new medal for the collection. Damn, not a single gold, man. Let's hope the gold one is for MMA. The good thing is we're already halfway there, and it's clear I'm not fighting to be the best at anything, but to be the most well-rounded of all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The silver medal king. Damn, there's more silver than lead. That's the end of a Silver Medal King's vlog. The good thing is I can finally go home and chill.
What do you mean chill, Kari? You've got 3 more competitions tomorrow.
What?
Of course, all the beach events.
Oh no, please don't.